All right, guys. So Kamala Harris is having a hard time, okay? Because she's finally being put in the spotlight like the liberal media should have been doing basically since they got in office. And this is why I try to tell you guys, when the Republicans stop being stupid, when they stop making silly mistakes that gives the media an excuse to cover them instead of the Democrats, the media is then forced at that point to actually pay attention to the Biden administration and start to cover them like they should. Okay, that's what happens. And right now, there's not really much going on with the Republicans. Okay, so now the media is finally getting back to the border crisis like they should have been doing again since the Biden administration got in office. And Kamala Harris, as you can see, she is folding under pressure. Now, she did an interview in Guatemala with Lester Holt, and I've covered some of the things she talked about at her press conference, but this is actually a sit-down interview. And just watch how she just folds when talking about the border crisis issue with Lester Holt.
Just quickly put a button.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making. I'm not discounting the importance of the border.
Well, I mentioned it because I know Republicans have certainly come at you on this, but Democratic Congressman Cuellar has a border district, has said to you and the president, come. You need to see this.
Listen, I care about what's happening at the border.
So in response to him asking her why she hasn't been to the border, she cackles and says, I haven't been to Europe. Haven't been to Europe either. I don't understand your point. She's trying to play dumb on the situation like she don't understand why he keeps asking her this. And I'm telling you guys, I noted this yesterday when Kamala was talking at the press conference in my head. I didn't say it out loud, but it just confirms with this interview. Kamala does not like the fact that she's been assigned to oversee the border crisis. She does not like it at all. Matter of fact, it kind of seems like Biden is assigning Kamala to all the things that he really doesn't want to deal with. Okay, that's really what it seems like, because she also got assigned to passing the For the People Act, which is also a progressive priority that really is not going to look good for the Biden administration if they can't get Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema in line, right? And just like this border situation is really not going to look good for the Biden administration from the right, because they're not trying to solve the problem, and from the left, because when they go out there and they talk tough and they tell immigrants not to come, it makes Kamala look bad, right? It goes against everything Kamala has been saying in regards to the border crisis before she got in office. Okay, we all know how Kamala actually feels. In the video I did yesterday about Kamala and her past comments on the border crisis, she's blasted the Trump administration for their inhumane policies. Matter of fact, she even called for Trump's Department of Homeland Security to resign. Okay, they talked about closing down all the private detention camps, right? Closing down all those facilities at the border. But lo and behold, during a crisis that they created because of their rhetoric, because of how much they want to appeal to the progressives, now that they're actually in office and they got to deal with the problem, all of a sudden, Trump's policies aren't looking that bad anymore. Okay, so that's why Kamala is frustrated, because she is really eating crow right now. She really is. She's eating crow. It is painful for her to have to deal with this. It's very painful for her. And you can tell she does not like talking about this. And I love every single second of watching Kamala fold under pressure, because this is what the media should have been doing from the get-go. Okay, because we knew they had nothing for this border crisis. We knew it. There was nothing they could do, because I knew they were stuck between a rock and a hard place on the practical nature of what's going on versus the promises they made to progressives. And see, Kamala now, she's so caught up on not going to the border because she doesn't want to give the Republicans a W. right? Her going to the border is her acknowledging that the problem is actually serious. And that's the issue. If she goes to the border, what that essentially says is that the Republicans are right and that this is an issue. And now there's going to be photos of Kamala visiting that same border that she visited under the Trump administration for the same issues that she blamed the Trump administration for. The exact same issues. Imagine a picture of Kamala at the border visiting one of these detention centers that she promised that she was going to shut down, by the way. And she also compared them to jail, right? Jail cells, kids in cages, said they were incarcerated, called it a crime against humanity, right? That is happening under their administration. Their administration. She does not want to give that to the Republicans. That's why she's so determined not to go. That's why she gives flippant responses to interviews like this when she's pressed on it, talking about, well, I haven't been to Europe, as if the border is in Europe. We don't share a border with Europe, Kamala. Hello. We're not stupid. There's no reason for you to go to Europe. Nobody expects you to go to Europe. But you do need to go to the border, right? And here's my thing. I'm not even super gun-ho about being at the border, right? I think some of the stuff that the Republicans did, going down there and taking all these pictures, obviously a lot of that was a photo op. Let's be real. Let's be real. A lot of that was to make it, to put pressure on the Biden administration to go. Okay, that's what it was. But now that you're in charge, you're in the White House, you definitely should go and see what is happening under your administration to see what can you do to support our border control, to support the great state of Texas, to support California, to support those border states. Yeah, you should go and see what's going on. Because again, under the Trump administration, you had no problems going because you saw it as a crisis. You had no problems going out there taking photo ops and talking to the migrant children and doing all the things that you need to look good and to make Trump look bad. You had no problems with that. But again, now when she has that problem, now when it's happening under her watch, all of a sudden, I don't think it's important to go to the border. That's just a photo op. I don't really want to go. But we all know what it is. We all know what it is. It's her not wanting to give the Republicans a W. It's her not wanting to eat her own words. It's her not wanting to look foolish after all the things she said under Trump. And this is what frustrates me about politicians, guys. They're more concerned about how they look than actually getting things done. It's okay. Yes, you're going to be wrong. You played politics under Trump. Guess what? The pendulum swing the other way. I'm sorry. Now you have to deal with it. But instead of continuing to play politics, why don't you actually try to solve the problem? You know, an easy way for Kamala to turn this around, and she was actually smart, is to actually go to the border and say, hey, I've been to the border. I'm ready to now do immigration legislation to solve this problem. Republicans, come to the table. Let's do some immigration legislation. Because you guys was at the border talking big smack, taking pictures, hunting illegal aliens on video. Let's actually do some legislation. Let's actually really solve the problem here. Now you put the ball back into the Republicans' court. That's what you do. Okay? Because really, guys, like I told you before, Trump's executive orders, yeah, I mean, did they deter people from coming? Yes, they definitely was meant to keep people from coming, but we still had a border crisis under Trump for a reason, because these people are continuing to come. Okay? So with that being said, his policies and his executive orders were temporary. Obviously, the Biden administration just come in and he can just overrule it, right? So now what really needs to happen is we need real immigration reform. We need real legislation. And again, the Democrats could flip this around if they were smart on the Republicans by going to the border, showing that they actually care about the problem, and then saying, let's come to the table, let's get some legislation together to solve it. That honestly would be the chess move for Kamala. But her ego is so big. Her ego is so big. She won't allow herself to go to the border because she doesn't want to see pictures of her at these same detention centers that she said that she would close. That's all this is about. And there ain't no need to get snappy at a reporter. Ain't no need to get mad at Lester Holt because he's pressing you on the issue. It's your fault. It's your fault. If you're going to be mad at somebody, be mad at Biden. He the person that threw you under the bus. He the person that put you in charge of it. Just like he going to throw you under the bus with this For the People Act. He's going to throw Kamala under the bus for all the progressive priorities. That's what Biden is doing. He's just passing it off to her. Things that he don't really want to deal with. Oh, you're in charge of that. You take care of that. Knowing that she's going to take all the blows from the far left. The same way he's throwing Manchin and Sinema under the bus for not repealing the filibuster in the infrastructure bill. Even though Biden already said he don't want to repeal the filibuster. Okay? Biden already said that. Biden is the one that's choosing to continue to negotiate with the Republicans. Biden can just say, hey, listen, we can just go ahead and do it. He could force Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema to support it. But he's the one not doing that. Biden is literally throwing people under the bus to avoid criticisms from the progressives. Because AOC has come out to Kamala on the border. The progressives have come out to Kamala on the border. They're not coming out to Biden, they're coming out to Kamala. The progressives are not coming out to Biden on the filibuster or the infrastructure package. They're coming out to Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. Biden is finessing. He is finessing. So, like I said, man, if Kamala's gonna get snappy with somebody, she's gonna be mad. She need to be mad at Biden because he's the one that put her between this rock and a hard place. So, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.